I was alone and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know that it was going to happen to me. John Tyree doesn't talk much. By the time we meet him, he's on vacation from military duty just trying to find some peace. That's when fate steps in. Savannah, a college student on spring break, accidentally drops her purse into the water at a pier. Without hesitation, John jumps in to retrieve it. When he returns her purse, their eyes meet and electric happens. She invites him to a bonfire party where he meets her neighbor Tim, a kind older man, and Tim's son, Alan, who has autism. Their brief but warm encounter sparks a quiet connection between the soldier, the single father, and the observant boy. They spend more time together, getting to know Savannah better. As the night winds down, John starts walking home. Suddenly, a car pulls up. It's Tim with Alan quietly lost in his own world. Need a ride? Tim asks with a knowing smile. John simply nods and gets in. During the ride, Tim lies about his wife being on vacation, which John notices but chooses to ignore. During the drive, Tim jokingly warns John to be careful not to break Savannah's heart, or else he'll have to break his bones. They share a laugh, the tension easing in the night air. Savannah isn't just partying on spring break, she's building homes with Habitat for Humanity, rebuilding houses damaged by hurricanes. Over the course of 2 weeks, something beautiful unfolds. John and Savannah fall deeply in love. Savannah even meets John's father, Bill, a reclusive man obsessed with his coin collection, specifically rare mules. To Jay's surprise, Savannah is genuinely interested in his father's passion, seeing something in the quiet man that others miss. But Love Paradise has an expiration date. Savannah has to return to college and John must complete his tour of duty in Germany. He tells her he just needs 12 more months, then he'll be done with the army forever. During one of their conversations, Savannah gently suggests that John's father, like Alan, might have high-functioning autism. This observation upsets John, who storms off and gets into a fight with Savannah's friend, Randy, accidentally punching Tim in the process. John apologizes to Tim and leaves Savannah a heartfelt note. She visits him for one last day together. Before John leaves, they make a promise that will define their future. They vow to continue their relationship through letters, promising to tell each other everything. Their love spills into words, handwritten, slow, and full of longing. John writes from dusty tents and chaotic war zones. Savannah writes from campus lawns and quiet cafes. For months, their connection grows stronger through paper and ink. But then the world changes forever. September 11th shatters everything. The attacks shake John and his fellow soldiers to their core. Faced with a choice between love and duty, John makes a decision that will haunt both of them. He re-enlists. When John returns home for a brief weekend leave, Savannah sees him first at the airport. She runs into his arms, her embrace full of relief, love, and unspoken worry. Everything feels different now, rushed and uncertain, but they desperately try to hold on to what they have. Savannah takes him to meet her parents, still believing in their future despite the growing uncertainty. Later, John has a quiet conversation with Tim about his son Alan's autism. When John asks about Tim's wife, Tim's face darkens. He lies again, saying she's on vacation. But John understands the truth. Tim's wife left them. John is moved by Tim's quiet strength in raising his son alone. At that moment, an old veteran thanks John for his service, but the interaction turns heavy when Savannah overhears the devastating news. John has re-enlisted for 2 more years. Her heart sinks. She quietly walks away, tears welling, unable to hide her hurt. John follows her desperate. "Just tell me what to do," he begs. He pauses, fighting the war between duty and love. "You matter more than anything. Just tell me what to do, Savannah. I'll do it." She simply answers, "Follow me," and leads him to the stables where they discuss Uganda. They spend their last night together. And in the morning, she escorts him to the airport where his father waits. Understanding his father better now, John says his goodbyes, and they promise to keep writing. Their time apart turns into years. Through letters, Savannah tells him about her dream to work with autistic children, planning to build a farm with horse stables where they can enjoy the outdoors and animals. For 2 years, their romance continues through written words. But love doesn't just need letters. It needs presence, touch, and voice. And slowly, Savannah's silence grows louder. John finds himself anxiously awaiting each letter. Then comes the one that changes everything. Not a sweet letter, not a love letter, just 2 words that crush souls. "Dear John." She's engaged to someone else. His hands tremble. This wasn't just goodbye. It was betrayal dressed in ink. In a rage, John burns all of Savannah's letters, refusing to talk about it when his colleagues try to console him. Years pass through bullets, sand, and crushing loneliness. John becomes numb to pain and people. Only his duty remains. In 2003, after being shot in Afghanistan, John is encouraged to return home. But he re-enlists again after 4 more years and countless missions while waiting for his next deployment orders. John receives devastating news. His father has had a stroke. When John arrives at the hospital, he learns his father is alive, but in grave condition. John writes a letter to his father, reading it aloud at his bedside. He tells him that the first thing that crossed his mind after being shot was coins, and the last thing before losing consciousness was his dad. Soon afterward, his father dies. John visits Savannah at her farm, and she innocently asks about his father. She's shocked to learn he's dead, and that's why John came home. Entering the house, John discovers another shock. Savannah has married Tim and is living with him. She had to abandon her dream of a riding camp for autistic children because Tim is fighting cancer. Savannah brings John to visit him, and the moment feels like stepping into a room where time and pain have tangled together. Tim looks up, a little surprised to see him. Then Tim, ever the honest soul, breaks it. "You know," he begins, his voice rough but steady, "she never stopped loving you." John looks up. Tim chuckles faintly, painfully. "She may not say it, but I see it. The way she looks at you, it's still there." That night, Savannah asks John to stay for dinner. At the table after a long silence, John finally breaks. He asks why they're acting like everything is normal, pretending to eat dinner as if everything is okay. He confronts her about not even calling him, not giving him at least an explanation beyond just a Dear John letter. Furious, he asks if she thought so little of him that she couldn't pick up the phone. Savannah's response is heartbreaking. She couldn't call because just hearing his voice would have made her change her mind. Being away while he was at war wasn't easy for her either. Every single day felt like a marathon. Tim was sick and needed her help, and his son Alan only connected with her. She was alone and had no idea what she was doing. She loved John, still loves him. But life demanded sacrifice, and she gave it everything. John realizes his part in all this and embraces her. She had no choice, she says. They look through all the letters they exchanged, reminiscing about old memories. They're tempted to pick up where they left off years earlier, but they don't act on their feelings. As John heads toward the door, Savannah says, "I'll see you soon then," asking him to reply the same way they always did, but there's only silence. He replies, "Goodbye, Savannah," and leaves. While John is going through his father's things, he does the unthinkable. He sells the prized coin collection except the special mule coin which started the collection. He anonymously donates the money to Savannah so that she can get Tim's special medicine to bring him home with his family. Back in the army, John keeps the mule coin as a charm. He receives a final letter from Savannah telling him they received an anonymous donation, but Tim died from his illness after only 2 months of treatment. The letter ends with their familiar phrase, "I'll see you soon then." Months later, John returns home as a civilian. While parking his bike in town one day, he sees Savannah at a coffee shop. They reunite and embrace, their story coming full circle. Dear John shows us that love isn't always about getting what you want. Sometimes it's about sacrifice. Sometimes the greatest act of love is giving someone the chance to be happy, even if it's not with you.